What is up, guys? Welcome to our second MazCast. Definitely appreciate having each and every one of you guys tuning in and checking us out. Hope everybody is staying safe at home. I'm joined by the usual suspects, Runesar and Bloomkai.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're being safe and staying safe.
And joined today by our special guest, Kejirain. He is a great creator on YouTube and a streamer on Mixer.
Hello, everybody.
Keji, I appreciate you coming in last minute here. Tell us a little bit about your channel. Why did you start a YouTube channel? I know that you and I met. We've known each other a couple of years now, and we met as co-creators on YouTube. What inspired you to start a channel?
Well, obviously, I started over on YouTube. What inspired me to start a channel was just gaming in general. So back when I was little, I watched a lot of YouTube myself, and I watched videos on Halo Reach, and like Call of Duty, Battlefield. I just watched all sorts of gameplay videos from different other channels, and I was always inspired by like how channels such as like big channels such as like PewDiePie, Markiplier, all those people, they all make these awesome gaming videos, and I was like, how do they do that? And like, how are they so good at it? It looks so simple, and it looks something like I do every day, except I don't have a camera or near as high tech that they have. So I just kind of did some research and practice over the years, and got a capture card, got monitors, got a computer, got an Xbox. And then just kind of grew from there, and I started making videos on YouTube. And then I was kind of introduced to live streaming because I figured out how to use the live streaming function in Elgato, and I started streaming from there. And then it kind of developed into just me full-time streaming because I spent so much time on creating videos, and I just wasn't getting like the satisfaction, of just like I would make a video, and it just wasn't really rewarding for me. But I still like making videos. It's just every time I went, it was just so much easier to just click the live button and interact with people.
Sometimes interaction is much more rewarding, like instant gratification versus pre-recording. That's one of the reasons why I stream myself, and that's how we met. We actually met watching live streams, and we kind of were in the same room at the same time, and just kind of hit it off ever since then. It's fantastic to have you over here. And it looks like you moved over to Mixer about 6 months ago. What turned you on to Mixer? What made you want to move over to Mixer?
Well, I started seeing a lot of people go over to Twitch, and then I started hearing some things about Mixer. Now Mixer was a thing. It used to be called Beam, and I about sometime in 2018, on my channel actually says like June 10th, 2018 is when I first made my Mixer account. And I guess that's true because I guess I remember a day in June 2018 that I went on Beam on my Xbox and was just like, oh, this is cool, and I just clicked off of it, not really thinking much about it. But I later on found out that it had changed to Mixer, and it had grown into like a proper streaming platform. And I was like, oh, let's check it out. And you and some other creators, they all went to Mixer as well. So I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And at first it was a little weird. I didn't really like the format that it had up, but like all things, I just kind of forced myself to get used to it. And it's actually way better than I thought it would be. And I'm glad I made the change over there because it's really great.
Glad you made the change as well. I mean, the nice thing about Mixer is definitely the interaction. It definitely cultivates interaction. You go to YouTube, and there's good interaction on YouTube as well when you're streaming, but it's not really a platform that's built for streaming anymore. It really seems that YouTube has worked really hard to push the streamers out or discourage them, which is one of the reasons why I moved to Twitch and then moved over to Mixer as well. I definitely like the sticker system. I like the sparks and everything like that, especially the GIF. I can't tell you how many GIFs I get in a given stream. Like if I do a 2-3 hour stream, I'm probably getting upwards of close to 100 GIFs during one of those streams, and it's really funny, and I like the interaction. It definitely, like I said, cultivates that interaction a little bit better than any other stream platform that I've been on. The one thing I didn't like about Twitch was the fact that there are a lot of lurkers there that are watching the gameplay, which is fine because that helps you grow as well. But it's really all about the interaction, because if nobody's going to talk, I'd rather just be doing pre-recorded videos or playing offline.
Yeah, that's sort of like going back to YouTube streaming. From the very beginning, it looked like it was just meant for videos. Like you'd have to create a thumbnail, you have to create tags, you have to create a description. You have to do that every single time for one live stream. And it just got, I mean, if you want to put forth the effort to do that, sure, go ahead. I just didn't really like that, but I was like, okay, well, this is the only thing that I know how to do. So I just started doing that over and over again. And then I realized Mixer, you literally just have to create a title and that's it. You just click go live and boom, you're playing Modern Warfare and you're on the Modern Warfare tab when people can search you and find you and come to your stream, instead of hoping that your tags work and your title is perfect and your thumbnail is interesting and you have to spend like 30 minutes creating a good thumbnail. It's like, I remember basically I just remember those days, And honestly, the more I look back on it, the more I'm like, oh yeah, YouTube was supposed to be a video platform and not a streaming platform.
Well, if anybody has yet to check out Kejirain, please check him out on his YouTube channel and on his Mixer channel. The links to his channels will be in the description below. Runesar, something really exciting happened this week in the world of Bethesda. What was that?
I got a job working there.
You did?
I'm now
Fantastic.
Yep, I'm now taking over Todd Howard's PA, and I'm lying through my teeth. Wastelanders made a blazing appearance on my computer screen after a 3-hour download, and it's Windows decided to update at exactly the same time. Thank you, Windows. Lovely. So that delayed it loading up, and I was sitting there thinking, come on, I've got to, come on, let me in. And
I can actually see you sitting there poking your computer with a stick. Come on, do stuff. Work.
The poor computer was having a fit. I had to have all the vents open on it and a fan blowing cold air so we could cope with multiple downloads at once, because I thought, I'm not switching it off now. Anyway, it's here, and I like it. It's very good.
Why do you like it?
Very good. I have to agree.
It's like going back to Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas. There's people in the world who aren't players.
There's people.
Yes, there's people.
It's bizarre. What actually happened was there was people where I didn't expect people to be. I thought they'd only be at certain locations, but they're wandering around. And I've got a private server, and I was trotting around, and this person was there. I was thinking, damn it, I've got a hacker. And I actually thought it was for a split second. I thought it was a hacker. I thought, no, hang on, no, that's a prospector. That's a scavenger. That's brilliant. I went over and had a word with them, and they gave me lots of ammunition without me threatening them with gunpoint. It was marvelous. They will actually give you items or ask for items, so that's why I say it's very like Fallout 3 or New Vegas, whereby you come across somebody who's like dying of thirst or who needs Radaway, and you give them it, and they're eternally grateful to you. And that's where the reputation system comes into it. And there's two. There's one with the settlers and one with the raiders, and you can keep neutral to them up to a large degree. And in that, it's sort of like being Clint Eastwood on A Fistful of Dollars, or the Akira Kurosawa movie Yojimbo, where he's playing both sides at the same time. And if you keep on a level pegging with them, you get rewards from them as you go up. But there will be a point where you have to decide one way or the other with the raiders or with the good guys, depending on how you view it, how you're role-playing your character. If it's a good guy or if it's a bad individual who's just fallen by the wayside, as they say. And so you're getting quests off these people as well. Now, because you are getting quests off these people, it makes it far more immersive. It's, as I say, it's going back to Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. It's good. It's like a totally different game. It really is.
Bloom, what are your thoughts on it? You've had the chance to play it as well?
Yeah, I haven't obviously played as much as he has, due to the fact that, well, my hours are so weird. But I like it. It makes me want to play the game again because it's like I've been, shying away from it because once I've played it with friends, it just wasn't the same without the friends. But now it's like, oh, I can play this and I have interaction with people. I like this. I have a settler at my camp on one of my new characters, and she will actually help defend the camp when the stray dogs come up and stuff. So I'm like, well, that's cool. There's a raider out there that is actually nice to you before you even have any real reputation with him, except he does tell you to bugger off, as Rune would say.
Or naff
but
off.
it is so fun now. I like it. I can't wait to get back in.
That's great. Keji, have you had an opportunity to play it yet?
I updated it. I have not played it yet.
I unfortunately haven't played it either yet, just because of my hectic schedule. I actually didn't even get a chance to stream this week, so hopefully things are. I want to continue to hold on to hope that things are going to settle down and there's going to be some sort of normalcy in my life in the near future, but I'm not really holding my breath just yet. But I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it. Definitely something I'm going to be playing this week as well, alongside you guys, of course. It's going to be quite an experience, especially when Rune had mentioned the games like Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. Those are the games that turned me on to Fallout in the first place, and if it's got that type of feel to it, hopefully that's enough to really be able to play it as a single player again, for one. Two, we all know 76 has a very, very bad reputation with fans and with players alike. Hopefully this is a redeeming asset. They have done a lot of different things with their updates over the past year or so that have been those big efforts like a Hail Mary to renew their reputation. And this might be a step in the right direction. Rune or Bloom, what do you think with this type of addition with Wastelanders and NPCs, which is something that people were really complaining about, if you remember, before the game came out, when they said, hey, there's going to be no NPCs. How do you think this is going to affect the people that are like, I'm not touching 76? Do you think that this is a redeeming factor, and you think this might pull in some new players that refuse to play it or were turned off by it initially to come back and give it another chance?
Well, I think that if the people who have been either turned off with it or shied away from it from all the negative reviews, if they're willing to try it again or even try it to begin with, I think they will be pleasantly surprised at how good it is, because it's the writing for the NPCs that I have come across. It's really good writing. I mean, some of them are the nice jokey type commentary to more serious, and I think that they would actually enjoy it because it seems more realistic. What's your thoughts, Rune?
The best character that I've come across so far is the ghoul. I quite like him. I like his dialogue.
Mort?
Mort, that's him. And the raider's quite amusing. The punk raider. He wants to start a radio station at your settlement. But
and then he tells you to bugger off.
Yeah, but that's reputation, you see. If you had a high reputation with the raiders, he would come and join your settlement, your camp, whatever.
Yeah.
And which they've expanded, by the way. They've expanded the settlement camp size, by the way. And he will actually broadcast on a radio band that you can pick up on your Pip-Boy. The dialogue options all opened up, and not just with the new NPCs, the human NPCs, with older ones as well. So the robots, like the Raider robot, for instance,
Rosie,
and that's her, and the Mayor of Grafton. I'm terrible with names, and the Mayor of Grafton. They have new dialogue options, and Mobius does as well. Does it? Modus, I beg your pardon. At the Enclave, he has new dialogue options dealing with the newcomers or the new arrivals.
I've only run across Rosie yet so far. I haven't gotten the other ones.
I'm going to have to speak to Modus, actually, see what he has to say specifically, because I don't actually know. But it is a lot better. It's when you meet them on the road as well, and they've taken over places as well. This is quite good. They've actually moved into places that were populated by the Scorch, for instance. So, and in some places, I'm not going to tell you which because it'll spoil it, but the settlers and the Scorched living in the same town, and there's sort of like gang wars going on between them. which is quite interesting.
It's like dogs and cats living together.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally they're fighting, to get a foothold and survive and not get infected, which is still a big part of it. The disease that was going around, it's a bit like now. Sorry to depress you, folks. But the scorch plague, which is going around, they're still trying to find a cure for it. And a very, very special VIP turns up. And I'm not going to say any more. You're going to have to play it and find out
Yeah,
who
no
that
spoilers.
person is. No spoilers. No, spoiler alert. No, I won't say. But the main quest is still continuing on. It's just channeling off into these different factions. And it's not just one raider gang either. Where it's like generic raiders in like Fallout 4, whereby there's some in Concord and there's some in Beantown and that sort of thing. There's actually different raider factions. One of them isn't too bad, actually. They're not like mindless mass murderers. There's another gang called the Red Eagles, and they are nutters. They'll just attack on sight. They have roadblocks, actually, along some of the main roads. You'll actually see that very early on, even with a new character. So, that's not a spoiler, really. Just be aware of them because they are pains in the past
they're
area.
in random places as well, places that
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect. I mean, I ran across some last night that there was nothing there, and then all of a sudden I'm getting shot at, and they're trying to kill me, and I'm like, "What the hell?"
Well, I mean, that's you expect that though, right?
Well, exactly.
Yeah, you expect new things, but it was just because when you're playing it, your mind turns back to where it was. It's like it shuts off and forgets that there was an update until you get shot by new things, and you're like, "What?" And they have new creatures.
That's awesome.
Oh yes.
I've only come across one group of new monster, and I'm like, what type of creature did this come from? Because I can't figure it out. And I'm not going to explain it, but because it might be too much of a spoiler, but it's got like 3 to 4 different versions of it that you can run across all in the same area. And it's just the most bizarre alien creature that I've come across so far in this game. And it's just amazing to see the new creatures.
They do look good. Another thing is that we can talk about, but it's not a spoiler, is the faction rewards. Depending on which faction you ultimately side with, you get different items to get. And there's also a new currency, sort of. It's gold bullion.
Oh.
And you can trade that with, believe it or not, the Secret Service, who will be making an appearance later on. And you actually learn about them fairly early on if you go a certain route. And some of the items they can give you are top quality. They look very good. How well they perform, I'm not too sure. Also, another bonus, if you logged on prior to Wastelanders being launched, you actually get a free item, which is the Mountain Scout uniform, and that's free.
I noticed that in my inventory, and I was like, where did that come from? No, I know.
That's where it's from, my dear. It's a freebie. There's new weapons as well, of course. As Bloom just pointed out, there's new cryptids and mutations. There's new locations and old locations that will be turned into completely new locations. There's the 5 NPCs you can get as sort of companions. And in actual fact, apparently they will follow you on certain missions.
Definitely sounds like something that people should come back to if they hadn't, if they were turned off by 76 initially.
Yes.
Or they had stopped playing for whatever reason. Give it another chance. I gave it another chance when they started doing updates and they did some overhauls with the game that made it perform better and whatnot. And I'll be honest with you, I'm glad I did. It's been a lot of fun, especially when you play with others. But if you haven't tried it since its release in 2018, and you haven't tried it since the beta or since it first released, give it another shot. It has changed substantially. And then now it sounds like it's not only is it changing, but it's evolving into more of a Fallout type feel.
It's also developing into an actual game versus just well, this is half of it.
Yeah, here's a game. It just works.
It's definitely worth coming back to.
No, I think it's a totally different game, to be quite honest, from 76. It just feels like a totally different game.
Feels like a Fallout game, doesn't it?
yeah, I mean, 76, no people there was interesting, I thought, but this is a totally different game and much better. And they've got quality of life, new coding in as well, which makes things a bit easier. Like you can just pick up a weapon and equip it immediately.
Oh yeah, or eat food. You've got two options where you can just
Yep.
hit E once to pick it up, or hold E to either equip or use.
Which is excellent. The only thing I don't like about it is they've changed the music, and I don't like the new music. And that's a problem, you see. I've always found a thing about certain games when they do have an excellent soundtrack, like Morrowind. When Dragon Ball DLC was introduced to Skyrim, they started inserting that music into the actual overall theme of Skyrim. And the problem is that music makes a movie or a game. I mean, for instance, in The Hobbit, where the dwarves are singing the dwarven song, the saga of, the Lonely Mountain. Thankfully, the music director, the voice coach, he decided that they were going to have this deep, tenorous, almost church choir-like way of singing the song, the saga. Because I remember that somebody told me about in the 70s, somebody made a cartoon which was a misguided attempt at bringing the hobbits to the screen, and it was a really bad idea because all the dwarves sounded like cartoon characters, really shrill voices. Yeah, so could you imagine in The Hobbit if all the dwarves was like, "Far over the misty mountains cold, so dungeon deep," it just wouldn't work. You'd literally just get up and walk out, or
it
throw
worked
things
for
at
the
the
Lollipop
projectors.
Guild, didn't it?
Yeah, but that's different. They're the Lollipop Guild. Dwarves are more manly.
Yes, all the
Even the
dwarves
women
versus
are more
Munchkins, dwarves versus Munchkins. Gotcha.
I'm Gimli of the Lonely Mountain.
Hello, I'm Gimli, the Lonely Mountain. Would you like to come in?
Yeah, but you
Did
don't
you
want to
understand
hear
this
a
adventure?
dwarf or a midget that's like 3 feet tall.
Talking like this, it just doesn't make sense, you know?
I mean, the dwarves are supposed to be, tough buggers. They're supposed to sound tough. They're supposed to sound deep and tenorous.
You got a problem with me? Bring it.
I would love to join you in this whole low voice chat, but unfortunately, I don't go that low.
Come on, Bloom, let's give it a shot. Let's hear it.
Okay.
Let's hear your
No,
low
I don't
voice.
go that low.
Come on,
No.
Keji, let's get you in on this too.
Bring out your low voice.
Oh my God! Go a bit lower, more raspy, Keji.
Oh, bring it back.
Bring it down.
Come on, Bloom, let's hear yours. I'm
Come on, Bloom. Give us a Batman. Oh God, I was going into me ghoul then. Come on, small skin. Let's see what you can do.
Let me hear your low voice. Let's hear your inside voice. Come on.
No, I don't have an inside voice. I have one volume.
And that seems to be stuck on high.
So why don't we go ahead and talk about some of the questions and comments. Hey, Keji pretty much single-handedly put our format together for this week, so I appreciate that. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that have been on our Discord. As you can remember me saying at the beginning of the last podcast, we do drive a lot of our content on MazCast by what the viewers and the members of our Discord community are asking us in different types of topics, comments, questions, and whatnot. Keji, thank you very much for being probably the biggest contributor to this week's questions and comments section. So let's go ahead and start out. Keji, you had asked what your first gaming console was and what was your first game that you'd ever played. Let's go ahead and start with you on that one.
So my first gaming console, I believe it was the original Xbox. So like, the old Xbox, the console. And my first game, man, I don't know what I think my first game Geez. I played. I don't know my first game, but some games that I played on the original Xbox was Star Wars Battlefront 2. I played hours of that one. I played SpongeBob Battlefront Bikini Bottom, or Battle for Bikini Bottom, sorry. And then I think there was this Brothers in Arms game that I played. I can't remember the exact name of it, but I played a Brothers in Arms game. And those were like the 3 main ones that I played. And that was like back, I don't know, like 7 years old or something. Like that was years ago.
So
But that was my
essentially, that was
first.
only 5 years ago, right?
Yes. But yeah, that was my first technical gaming console, and then I got a Wii, a Nintendo Wii, and then I basically just got all the Mario games for that, so I played that. And that was Mario. I absolutely love Mario games. They're
Mhm.
super fun.
I remember
But yeah,
Super
and
Mario
then
Galaxy
those
being
are.
amazing on the Wii.
Oh yeah. I played the crap out of 1 and 2. But yeah, so those are the Xbox was my very first gaming console that I ever played on.
Very, very, very cool. What about you, Bloom?
Oh well, that was a long time ago, but I remember playing my first game. It was Pong on Atari with the little joystick. That was my first game. Loved it and wanted to play more, but finances didn't agree with the family until probably 10 years ago. But 10 years ago, my first gaming console was the PlayStation 3 when we got that. And then I think the first game on that was Skyrim.
There you go. That's a great choice. For that
Yeah,
to be one of your
yeah.
first games, that's a great choice. Absolutely. And those of you that know me on my channel, that's my number one go-to game. I love that game. That is by far my favorite game. No question. Anytime anybody ever says, "Hey, do you have any game recommendations?" I mean, I'm telling you Skyrim before you can even finish that question.
Yeah, it'll never get old. I
No,
don't
it
think
won't.
it'll ever get old.
Well, just as a side note, Bethesda has they have a huge, tough act to follow with this new installment. So hopefully they
Yes.
get it right with the Elder Scrolls. Runesar, what was your first console and game you played?
I have never owned a console, ever. I bought a PC as soon as I could, and the first proper game I played was, stand by, wait for it now, Morrowind.
I'm really not surprised on that one.
Is there anybody who's surprised here
Nope.
that it was Morrowind?
Nope. Nope.
The first game I ever played, though, on the PC was actually a demo of Thief, believe it or not, Thief 2. And it was given away on a magazine. And it was so big, I actually thought, halfway through, I think I bought the entire game by accident here because it was massive. Literally, basically the idea was you started across one side of the street, went across, and basically ripped off a manor house. And it was brilliant, and I thought, this is good. But Morrowind was the first full-blown game. Very similar, actually, in styles. Yeah, and that was it. Yeah, Morrowind.
Yeah, I gotta actually side with Bloomkai on this one. My first console that we ever had was an Atari 2600. I remember getting it. It was probably my 4th Christmas or something like that. We got a bunch of Atari cartridges, and I had no idea why we were getting that because we didn't have an Atari, and I was like 4 years old at the time. So maybe I didn't catch on that we were getting a console. But later on, we did unwrap an Atari 2600, and Pac-Man was actually the first game I'd ever played on the Atari. So I am old and dated like Bloom on that one.
Unfortunately, I'm a bit more old and dated than you are.
I'll take that though. I'm okay with that.
I've
and
aged
dated.
like a fine wine.
Yes, we are mature like fine wines, or if you want a good cheese. Sounds totally wrong, but you get my
So
drift.
what it is Rune's the cheese and I'm the wine.
There you
I'll
go.
take that.
The perfect compliment after a dinner.
And we're in a
Invite us
unique
down.
situation where Keji and I are the two younger ones on this show today. So
The entree and the main course. There you go. You have a full dinner service.
fantastic. Terrific.
So if you ever open a restaurant in chat, anybody opens a restaurant, please invite us for. We'll regale you with witty and pithy stories while we eat all your food.
Mrs. MazTech asked a really interesting question. And when I saw the question, I laughed my ass off because it really is a very loaded question that could open up some serious conversation. But she did ask, if you could be quarantined in any video game, which one would you choose and why? I'm going to start with you on this one, Keji.
Ooh, if I could be quarantined in any video game, so like that means like I'm in the video game or am I playing it?
You're
Okay,
stuck
I'm
in the
in the
game.
video game.
You are in the game.
Think of Jumanji when you're
Yeah, Jumanji. I'd be stuck in Jumanji. No. Ooh, that's a tough. I mean,
it is. It's a very tough question.
I would say Minecraft, but I want to be a little different. I want to say, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, this is a tough one. Let's see. I'm just gonna go with Destiny. Just because it's like I don't know. I get to fight like aliens and creatures and stuff, and if I die, I can just respawn. I don't know, but I mean that'd be kind of cool. Like flying out in space, going to different planets and stuff.
Dangerous though.
Is respawning
is
respawning a factor in this? Because I don't know if this was.
So
I don't think we really got clarification on that.
Well, okay. So this is why I said Destiny because in Destiny you have a thing called a ghost, and it's basically like this little Destiny lore people will be like, oh, it's a light thing that like it's your light source or whatever. It's like but I just say it's a door opener because that's basically what he does. But in the lore, in the story, your ghost is basically like your respawner. So so you're a guardian and you're basically like fighting evil and darkness and things. And if you die, you don't completely die. Your ghost can revive you as long as there is light in space or whatever, like not actual light, but just like it's basically like the force pretty much. As long as there's light, you can be revived. And but if you're like completely consumed by the darkness, or if your ghost dies, of course, you don't get that option. You die like forever. So
well, there you go. So you're
actually
you're sidestepping the whole respawning thing because it's actually built into the game. So that's a really good answer, actually.
Yeah.
That's really good.
So that's why I didn't want to go Minecraft, because I'm like, okay, well, if you die in Minecraft, you like there's no
you die for real
thing. It's like there's no story thing to bring you back. But in Destiny, there is like a reason why people respawn. So same with like in Destiny 2, the Callous Raids, the Leviathan. At the end of the Leviathan, there's basically you get revealed that there is just a robot of Callus, and there's like multiple robots of them. So that kind of like factors in why people do raids every week. So it's like, oh yeah, a new Callus robot is the boss, and it's like, oh yeah, and then once you defeat it, the next week there's a new Callus robot, and it's kind of a cool thing they implemented, because everybody was like, what's the point of doing raids every week? It doesn't really make sense with the story. Like, why do Guardians do raids every single week? And that's kind of like a funny thing that they threw in. It's not really like that important, but like it's just a funny thing. They're like, oh yeah, here's a reason why people do raids every week, or over and over again.
What about you, Bloom?
Well, it's kind of a toss-up between Skyrim and Fallout. Skyrim would be awesome because I love the fantasy genre, and that falls right into it with whole magic and dragons and stuff like that. And if you're in Skyrim, you're the Dovahkiin, so you don't really die. So if you die, you don't die. It's just you're put into this coma for a couple moments, and then you wake up like, okay, that hurt. Let's go try that again. Fallout, because at least that way, if I was in Fallout, I mean, I would be able to be my sniper and shoot the ghouls that are trying to come at me, or the what have yous, and I wouldn't have to rebuild anything because all the houses are still there. You just have to fortify it. So I mean, it would be an easy, fun thing to play. But I'd probably, if I had to choose one, I'd probably go for Skyrim, just for the dragons and the magic, and I don't have to worry about dying.
That would have been one of my choices as well, because first of all, if you don't want to die and whatnot, you can actually go through Skyrim without any altercations if you stay on the path and you don't screw with people. And you have the ability to run from dragons and whatnot. So you can actually stay alive for a very, very long time. I have to disagree with you about that whole coma thing. I've seen my guy fall off a mountain before. He looks pretty damn dead.
But he bounces so well.
That's just very true. And again, a horse that can go like up a 90-degree angle. It's fantastic. Rune, what's your game?
I would. I'm going to do a huge cop out here, and I'm going to say a sailing simulator. I would like to be. I like to be stranded in a sailing simulator, the hold full of Nuka-Cola and sandwiches or tin meat or whatever, and tin fish. That'll do me. And on my boat, just me, nobody else around for miles, and that would do me down to the ground on the open sea.
Very
and there's a couple of really good ones as well. On Steam, there's like eSail and Sail Away, and yeah, that'll do me. Stick me on a boat, put me in a direction, and away I go. Lovely.
Before I answer mine, I can think of two games that you absolutely would not want to be in, and one of them would be Minecraft, because what happens when you die in Minecraft?
You lose everything.
Boom.
You go boom, and what happens to all your items?
You lose it all.
Where are you carrying it?
Exactly.
So, and imagine walking around with that. You got 5 stacks of 64 cobblestone. You think that's light?
I don't see a backpack or a HOD on any Minecraft carrier.
Exactly.
Character.
Exactly. So what I see with that, and you've seen people die in the game and whatnot, that means that all that shit just blows out of your chest when you die. That's got to be painful. Not only are you carrying it around, but it just goes everywhere. So. Where do you?
I've exploded an inventory cluster.
Exactly, and I'll tell you right now, if I'm picking this stuff up and I don't have an inventory backpack or I don't have a chest with me, you know where we're probably sticking this stuff. So I would avoid Minecraft. Anybody that was thinking of Minecraft, even though you get a bed and you can sleep and everything like that, there's just a lot of bad things. Mrs. MazTech mentioned. Raft would be a really terrible game as well to be.
Yeah.
Oh, what about 7 Days to Die? That would be a horrible one too.
7 Days to Die, 101 Ways to Die. That's an old game on PlayStation 4.
What about Doom?
Doom.
No.
This is the type of game that even if even a 13-year-old is going to have a heart attack, and die, being stuck in Doom. But I was going to say Skyrim, but in light of repeating an answer, I would probably end up playing, being stuck in a game that's a little bit more, like a simulator, not farming simulator, because there's no time to rest or anything like that. Sailing simulator would have been a good one as well, but probably something like the Fallout series, because you have access to a lot of different types of junk that you can build your own home, and you have access to food, and you have access to distillers, and so you're not going to run out of food and water. But there's obviously the downside of that is that everybody is out to get you, and you've got ghouls, and you've got the Scorched, and you've got raiders, but that's one of those things. Maybe even that would be a good situation to join up with maybe the Minutemen from Fallout 4. At least you'd have, not in the game, you wouldn't have protection, but at least you'd feel like you had protection because they don't do anything. you become the general in that game, and they're like, "Okay, Mr. General, go do this." It's like, "Huh, I thought I was the one who was supposed to be giving orders." Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll do what you say. So, I mean, there's all kinds of different ways that you can go about choosing a game, but you want to make sure that you have enough protection, you have enough food, you have a place to sleep, which you can do in that. You've got interaction, you've got human interaction, you've got robotic interaction. There's pretty much everything you need to survive is in that game. But Minecraft is a terrible idea.
Oh, terrible!
Terrible
Very
idea.
terrible.
Would be a good one.
I've watched you go poof, and that's just.
Oh God, yes.
Could you imagine how messy that would be, like in a real life situation, watching somebody go poof like that?
Yeah, I mean, the body would just disintegrate into just nothing but gore. And
yeah, exactly. It would be a red mist. It would be just ridiculous.
Two things come to mind here. One is raft. You've got a huge shark chomping at your raft, and if you're playing multiplayer, this guy comes along and drinks all your water while you're dying of thirst.
Oh my God, that was a year ago, man. Get over it.
That often happens. That often, I bear a grudge. That often happens. MazTech comes along and drinks all your water. Well, you're dying of thirst. Oh, sorry about that. You can get the next one. That's good of you. But the thing is,
in my defense, when you dropped dead of thirst, I was the one that carried you back to your bed to respawn.
You were still responsible for me shuffling off the mortal coil. Not forgiven. But another good one would be Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
I mean, you just live in a town or get a job as a ranch hand or something.
Yeah, there's nothing saying in this question that you can't keep your head down and live your life.
Exactly. Sleep on the roof. Don't sleep in a bunkhouse. Cook your own meals. That's how you do it.
That's too funny.
That'd be a perfect place to do, but I prefer the sailing simulator. Let's see.
Dimmy V Gaming asks, do you think you have what it takes to survive a zombie apocalypse? And what would be your zombie apocalypse weapon of choice?
If I could have a sniper rifle and lots of ammo, I would be just fine to survive, because there's no way I'm running from them. I can't run to save my life.
Runestar, how about you?
Well, I know a place, actually. Believe it or not, I gave this a bit of thought one day. It was a long bus journey. I've actually spotted a place that would be ideal for such a situation. And of course, the weapon of choice would be the flamethrower. Gets rid of them and cleans up the mess at the same time.
That's a great one. That's a great one. How about you, Keji?
Well, it depends on the type of zombie apocalypse it is. If it's World War Z, I'm just, I'm dead. Like, let's see y'all later. But if it's like Walking Dead, me and my friends have like a plan. We had like a good plan set up. We would actually hold up, and I know I'm supposed to answer weapon of choice. I'll get to that, but we're gonna hold up in a parking deck, so to survive that, and just make like a settlement, I guess, in a parking deck. So you just take the cars in the parking deck and block off the main way up, and then just throw some stuff on the stairs or whatever, and you just sit in the parking deck and maybe make some farms at the top of the deck and grow food up there, and then if it rains or something, or if it starts storming or whatever, you just get in the lower levels, and then you're protected. Zombies can't get to you. And yeah, the only problem with that is just getting water or like getting medical supplies or something. But I mean, you could just like get out somewhere. I don't know.
Still have to get the initial supplies.
Yeah, and like if you say like there's a group of zombies like at the entrance or whatever where the cars are, they can't really climb over the cars, so you can just get like a pike or something and stab them and just let them come to you and then just take them out. But as far as like weapons go, I don't know. I mean, obviously I'd like to have like a suppressed pistol or something, but just as a side thing, but that's gonna run out of ammo. So I'd have to say I want to go creative. I want to get like maybe make like a hammer / axe kind of thing. I don't know how I would do that, but like an hammer, maybe a pickaxe. I don't know. Just some sort of funky melee weapon, I guess.
I think I would worry about
sort of like Dead Rising kind of thing.
I think I would, yeah. I think about Dead Rising all the time when you think about a question like this, because that's just like out of control crap. That's like you don't want to be in a situation like that ever. And there's hordes and hordes and hordes of them. So my question to you is, if you have like one of those pickaxe type things and you run into a horde like that, you pretty much got one crack at it, because you're gonna take the time to pull that pickaxe back out of the zombie's head or out of their chest or something like that. Meanwhile, you're getting swarmed. So what about something like one of those hedge trimmers, like those branch trimmers, the ones that have the 6-foot pole on it and the little saw? That's one thing that I think about a lot. And when you think about these weapons of choice and everything like that, I always turn to Dead Rising for those ideas, because they've got the most off-the-wall shit in that game.
What you want is a Mr. Handy
buzz blade.
Yes, and a buzz. Exactly, that's what I was talking about. A buzz blade. Exactly. But they've got this. I don't know if you guys have ever played Dead Rising or any of the Dead Rising games, but there's like you craft your own weapons. Like you can find a shotgun and 3 pipes and turn it into a 3-way gun, even though that's not even physically possible to do it that way. But you can still do it with some duct tape, and you're all set. And then we've got something called dynamite, which is a stick of dynamite stuck in a zombie foot, and it takes out. It's like even more explosive. Even more explosive than regular dynamite is sticking it in a zombie foot, and it's actually called dynamite in the game, which is hilarious.
I'm gonna have to get that game now.
You're gonna have to get that game. It's Dead Rising 3 that has the dynamite in it, and that's one of my favorite zombie games of all time. But I gotta be honest with you, something that's automatic or something that cuts a lot and doesn't get stuck inside of a body, that's my thing. Do I have what it takes to survive a zombie apocalypse? I've got 3 kids. I don't have a choice. I have to have what it takes to survive a zombie apocalypse, and I will use any means necessary to make sure that I do, along with my family. But I'm going to go with the buzz blade. Well, I ask that people, if you're watching this podcast right now, please feel free to leave in the live chat or in the comments if you want to answer these questions. That would be awesome. The questions that we have been covering right now is, if you were stuck in any game, what game would it be? We would love to hear what your answers are.
I would love to hear what your answers are for the zombie apocalypse.
Exactly.
How would you?
Definitely.
Exactly. So please feel free to leave those comments, of course. The
more, the merrier. To know.
Yes, inquiring minds want to know.
The panel needs to know all this.
And let's see here. Keji, I'm going to have you start off with this one. What are your opinions on crossplay? This was your question initially. So what are your thoughts on crossplay?
So crossplay, the reason why I asked this question was because many of you know I've been playing Call of Duty Warzone lately, and it's really great. However, the main problem is just their servers. So the only way you can play Warzone is you have to enable crossplay, and it enables it so you can play with PC players, PS4 players, and Xbox One players. And that sounds great, and that's a huge thing. That's a great step forward to crossplay. However, it's just, there's different things on PC and console. There's different sort of options you can go with. I have them on both. I have Modern Warfare on PC, or Warzone on PC and on Xbox, and I will say that PC is a lot better. Like it's so much better, like graphics wise, frame rate wise, and you can change the FOV so you can see more people on the screen as opposed to no FOV on the on console. And personally, I do much better on PC when I'm playing, because I can do things, and it's a lot smoother, and a lot of people have problems with crossplay. I sometimes have problems with crossplay because it's just you're matched up with PC people, and I'm not saying PC is like super OP. It's a cheat or anything. It's not really a cheat. It's just there's more options on PC. So personally, I like crossplay, but as far as like Modern Warfare goes, I wish there was an option to turn off crossplay. Like it forces you to do crossplay on Warzone, and I wish there wasn't an option to do that. I wish you can just play with either Xbox people alone or Xbox and PS4, and then the PC people can play with PC people. That makes much more sense.
Sure.
But I mean, obviously having that option there is great, but having that the only option, I don't think that's that great.
No, I agree with you on that. I mean, one thing is when it comes to certain games, I guess that might not be a good thing. And if you look at crossplay in terms of like Fortnite, which is by far, I just want to reiterate to everybody, I think that's the worst game ever made, ever. But I'd rather play a dating sim than play that. But it's not, that's neither here nor there. One of the biggest problems with crossplay is people playing Fortnite on mobile with people on PC. You have more options, and not only that, but your keyboard and mouse is a lot more accurate than people playing on console with a controller, or people playing on mobile with having to swipe. So there are some times where there's some shortcomings to doing things with certain games when it comes to crossplay. If you look at stuff like Fallout 76, you look at games like Red Dead Online, those are the types of games that would be okay, I think, with cross-platform. And I'm actually glad to see that there's cross-platform coming out there now as more of like the norm. And the reason being is we all know that PlayStation 4, or Sony rather, really dragged their feet. And it really screwed a lot of things up for a lot of people. Because the thing is, Sony has always been exclusive. They're even still doing that with Mixer. Sony doesn't have Mixer as an application on their console because that's owned by Microsoft. And Microsoft is the one that bought Minecraft, and they had this play together update a long time ago that allowed cross-platform play between amongst PC, Xbox, and Switch and mobile. Whereas Sony, they opted out of that. They stopped getting updates and everything like that. They've been dragging their feet. Now, Sony's starting to understand that they have to do that, because it's really, at the end of the day, that's not Sony's choice to be cross-platform. I shouldn't have to, if I want to play, let's say I have Minecraft only on PlayStation 4, and Bloomkai has it only on PC. I shouldn't have to buy a PC to be able to play a $20 game with Bloomkai. It should be open to everybody. It's a choice, and it's a consumer's choice. And consumers, they remember stuff like that. It's funny because I used to say during my live streams, because you guys know that I've been very, very openly frustrated with Sony's choices as of late. And it's funny that I said, you know what, they better have this all sorted out before the PlayStation 5 comes out, because that'll be a huge conviction on their sales. They won't sell nearly as many consoles if they don't have cross-platform. And here we are now, probably about 6 months before the release of the PlayStation 5. Am I right? It's supposed to come out in November of 2020, correct?
I think so.
Now they're making cross-platform capabilities active. So I'm not sure if that's a PR thing. Is it something that they're going to try to close back off once they come out with the PlayStation 5? These are one of the things that I worry about. But I am all for cross-platform play, and I get your point as well, Keji, when it comes to things like functionality. I mean, FOV, that could be a big problem. That could be a really big differentiating factor between a win and a loss, correct?
And another point I'd like to bring up is, because of crossplay, there has been an insane amount of hackers on Warzone. I personally have actually gotten killed by like 3 different hackers in Warzone, and it's just ruined my game, and I'm just like, this isn't fun. I would just die instantly and then watch the kill cam, and some dude on PC is just staring at the ground or doing something suspicious, and then all of a sudden they snap to my chest, and just every bullet lands on my chest, and it's just like, yeah, I mean that's obviously a PC player, because you can hack on PC. So that's another problem. That's another huge problem with crossplay is PC players being able to hack.
But do you notice any differences with the FOV when you play on the Xbox versus the PC?
No, that's a funny story. I actually, since I downloaded it on PC, I was playing with my Xbox friends, and one of my friends died, and he was spectating me. I was like, "Hey, can you check it out? I want to see if," because I turned my FOV all the way up, and I was like, "Hey, can you see if there's any differences in camera?" And they proceeded to roast me because they were like, "Oh wow, my Xbox immediately got a high processor to register FOV. Oh, I wonder how that happened." And then so the answer is no. Even if you have an FOV on your PC, like if somebody is spectating you on Xbox, they won't notice a difference. So,
Fair enough.
so
fair enough.
that's another kind of like downside. It's just like, oh, I mean, if you can't tell, the only way to really tell if they're on PC is either check the lobby and see if they're playing with mouse and keyboard or Battle.net or whatever, or if they're a hacker and you just watch the kill cam.
Gotcha. Bloomkai, what are your thoughts on crossplay?
Well, I know that on some games, like Kenji was saying, it's just not fair to the players to have the crossplay. But there's a lot of games out there that would benefit the players, because there's some people who have one game on the game on the console, another one has it on a different console or a PC, and they want to play together, but they can't because they can't crossplay. So if they can crossplay, then there's more people playing, longer play times, and bringing in more people at once. So I mean, it can be a benefit and a hindrance, But I mean, that's about the extent of what I have.
No, I agree.
Now, I will say.
Oh, sorry. No, go on, Keji.
I will say.
Sorry.
Okay, 3 seconds.
I will say that there are some games out there that do not need to be crossplay. Such as an example would be Rainbow Six Siege. I believe that game does not need to be crossplay, and it can be cross save, which it is, and that's great. But crossplay, no, that would be terrible, because the number one reason is on PC Siege, there is an actual game function where I think it's if you press Q and E, you can lean left or right without having to ADS like you have to do on console. And even if you plug in, like if you have an adapter and you plug in mouse and keyboard on console, it still won't do it, even if you have it. Even if you have mouse and keyboard plugged in. And when you're on PC, if you're playing with mouse and keyboard, you have that option to lean left and right without ADSing. But if you plug in a controller, you can't do that. It literally takes away that option to do that. And the reason why is because there's just not enough buttons on a controller to do that.
It's a huge
And
advantage,
it just
too.
and it completely changes the gameplay. And I mean, that would be the only reason to make it, or the only way to make it crossplay is to just completely get rid of that option, which would probably kill the game because so many people play it on PC and they're used to that, like leaning without having to aim down your sights. So it will probably kill their motivation to play the game, because they're like, well, I do that all the time. That's like saying in Call of Duty or something, that's like taking away your crouch option. It's like, okay, well, if I can't do that, that's an important part of the game. If I can't do that, then
that's the point.
And that's like, yeah.
Runestar, what are your thoughts on cross-platform?
There's not enough of it. Seriously, there are a lot of games out there that would benefit from cross-platforming. As you say, there's the problem with the hackers, but nevertheless, in fact, I only know one game where you can play on both PC and PS4, and that's Guns of Icarus Online. That's the only one I've ever seen.
Lots opened up in the past couple of months. Now you can play Minecraft cross-platform with PS4. Like I said, Fortnite is an option now, so they are opening it up slowly. But yeah, I mean, I know that there were only a couple, like you had mentioned, Guns of Icarus I had heard about, and I know that Modern Warfare dropped with full cross-platform play when it first came out.
Well, if one can do it, they all can, as long as Sony, as you say, gives the go-ahead. But yeah, as I say, that's the only one that I know, and I don't see what the major problem would be in other games. Keji and yourself have both pointed out that there is a problem with hackers. However, there are some where the hackers just wouldn't stand in earthly. There's no hacking in Guns of Icarus Online, oddly enough. Or there's none that I'm aware of, anyway.
I hear you.
So, but it should be more. Should be more crossplay.
Well, let's see.
I think they should at least give the option to do it, instead of just deciding for you.
Well, again, going back to Guns of Icarus Online, Blue, you can actually click the option PC only when you're setting up a.
It's good to have that option because
Yeah, I mean, when you're setting up an event, you can actually stop. I wouldn't do it, but you can actually stop console players from getting it. I don't know why that would be. Perhaps if you're on a console, you can stop PC gamers getting into your game that you're setting up. So it's good.
Yeah, you can do that in Modern Warfare too, but it only works for multiplayer, and I think it works for co-op too. But Ground War and Warzone, you have to enable crossplay, which I find to be really stupid. But
do they both get the option, Keji, or is it just sort of PC players can?
Yeah, if you're like PC, PS4, Xbox, everybody has the same option. So let's say I'm playing on Xbox. I want to go into a quick play like a team deathmatch or something. I can turn off crossplay, so I'm only matched with Xbox players. But if I want to go into Ground War, it literally pops up with a message, "Hey, you can't go in this playlist unless you enable crossplay." So, and that same goes for like PS4. PS4 has to do that, and then PC has to do that. So that's a good thing, but it's just the two like popular playlists, Ground War and Warzone, are forced crossplay. So that's the biggest problem I have with them. But
not too sure about that. But I do like the option of being able to do that. As much as I like the idea of somebody who's only got Guns of Icarus Online on PS4 being able to play, with a PC gaming as well. It's good. Like it. More. We need more. I hope you're listening, gaming industry moguls.
We're getting towards the end of our time here. So, Keji, like if you would do me a favor and give me your pick for your game of the week.
Ooh, my pick for the game of the week. This is kind of an obvious pick, but I would say Call of Duty Modern Warfare, or at least just Warzone. And the reason why I say that is because that has been the number one thing that has kept me sane during quarantine. So I have been playing that game nonstop. And I even got the battle pass. I got enough COD points to get the battle pass for it. And it's been super fun. And it's free.
It's got to be Wastelanders at the moment. It's drawn me back in. It's opened up a completely new environment to me. It's, as I said before, it's like a totally different game. If you've got Fallout 76 and you haven't updated yet, do yourself a favor, update, and just give it a go because it is good.
Well, I agree with Rune on the 76. If you haven't given it a try since launch, do it. It's worth it. But to give an answer that's not already been answered, I'll say Outlaws of the Old West because I've started doing that. Takes place in the Old Wild West, as the title says, and you have to craft your own weapons to be able to create your own town. Essentially, you can just make your own town, buy tame horses, sell them once you've got a town set up. There's just so many options that I've read that you can do. Like you can mine for gold and be the richest person in your town. You can play with friends. You can play by yourself. It's so far I am actually 5 hours in and I really am enjoying this game. I've only died once, so that's a plus.
Fantastic. And look out for Outlaws of the Old West on the channel here. We're going to be starting a series on that as well. So for my pick, I've been playing on Mixer. I just started doing an Assassin's Creed Odyssey playthrough. But that was somebody's pick of the week last week. So thinking back a little bit further and digging deeper in the spirit of Assassin's Creed, which is really a fantastic game, fantastic series, minus a couple of different installments that we won't get into right now. I would definitely recommend Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. It's a really, really interesting game. It takes all the elements of the first 4 games, and I say 4 games, actually 5 games, because there's Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Revelations, and Assassin's Creed 3. So there were 5 installments before Assassin's Creed 4 came out. So actually, it's like technically Assassin's Creed 6, right? But it takes all the elements from those previous games and refines them and puts it in one game. It is an absolutely fantastic game. If you like pirates and everything like that, it takes place in the Caribbean. You visit Nassau and a lot of different other places, and it's a really fantastic game. The graphics are mind-blowing. You can get that if you go on to the Ubisoft Club. They do put that on sale and give it away quite often, so keep checking back on that.
Also with that is, if you like sailing ships and fighting battles on the ocean, you get to do that with that game.
Absolutely.
It's definitely an enjoyable game. You get everything. You get land excitement, you get water excitement, you get to dive underwater to get things, fight sharks. I mean, you pretty much get everything. You're running the gauntlet on this game. It's fun.
Absolutely amazing game. Well, thank you guys very much for joining us on today's episode of MazCast. We will be back next week with the Queen of Z's. I wanted to say a special thank you to Kejirain for being our special guest and joining us last minute today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure to have you, and thank you to my co-hosts, Runesar and Bloomkai.
You guys have a wonderful night, and we will see you on the next one.
Goodbye for now, ladies and gents. And remember what Winston Churchill said, or would say if he was in this situation. Keep calm and wash your hands. Please do take care of yourselves. Please be very, very careful and stay safe. See you very soon.
Don't forget to subscribe to Kejirain's YouTube channel and check him out over on Mixer. The links to his channels are in the description below, as I had mentioned. Please also, if you enjoyed this stream, please make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more podcasts like this on the way. Please also check out my Mixer channel. I do stream there on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And if you would like to become a member of our YouTube channel, please smash that join button. Also consider becoming a patron on our Patreon. We are always looking for ways to improve our channel, and every little bit helps. Thank you guys for joining, and as always, thank you for being a gamer, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day. Thank you so much.